to me.
Hannah Cat Jones, welcome to the reality of reality. I had to have you on because I need to let you guys know Hannah was on America's Next Top Model, and ever since that documentary came out on Netflix, it's all I can think about. And I posted on Instagram, like, does anybody know anybody from America's Next Top Model? Like, I need to interview someone. And two of my great friends, Sarah Griffith, Johnny Langan, both sent me your Instagram.
Both darling people. And I didn't finish the story of how we know Johnny.
Oh, yes. It started off with a horrible house that you had to make your own wall because your room didn't exist.
Yeah. So, and it ended up having mold in it. So I honestly thought one night there was like a ghost or like poltergeist or something, but it was just one of our roommates having like a really bad, like she came home like super drunk and was like dry heaving. Anyways, I don't know like how that has anything to do with Top Model, but
well, it more so just has to do with like being young and moving to LA
Life
for
in
the
LA.
first time. Like when I first moved to LA, I lived in a house in Burbank, and it was a 7-bedroom house that 10 people lived in.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But it was $500 a month.
Oh, that's the perfect rate when you move to LA. Just people are like, it's so expensive to live here. And it's definitely gotten a lot worse.
I don't think LA is as expensive as New York. I've never lived in New York, so I don't know. But like, it still is pretty expensive. So like, when you first move here, I mean, anybody you meet from LA has a story about a crazy place that they lived in when they first moved here. And like all my friends would always say, how did you get a place for $500 a month? I'm like, well, there's rats.
Yeah, right.
And there's 10 fucking people that live here. But it's $500 a month. So we do what we can. And it was interesting because I just want to get right into it real fast.
Yeah, we probably should.
Well, it has to do with LA too.
Okay.
So you were on cycle 16 of America's Next Top Model, which aired in 2011. Your season took place in Los Angeles before this happened because you're originally from Texas.
Yes.
Did you want to move to LA or New York, or was it just wherever Top Model took me?
Yeah. I growing up, I really wanted to be an actor. That was my biggest dream, and I never really saw myself being a model. Like, I've always been tall and gangly and kind of like a giraffe, a little like awkward. So modeling just didn't seem like something that I would ever do. And when I auditioned, it was really just because I had a lot of like family support and friends who were like, you should go, you should try it. So when we ended up like getting the call to come to LA, it was really cool to see LA for the first time. I've always loved California and always felt like this is where I should be. Like, I would wake up mornings, like when I was a little older, 18, 19, I would start to feel like I should be waking up in LA. You know?
You felt it. It was calling you.
I manifested it.
You did. Because most ANTM seasons were not in Los Angeles.
Really?
Oh, maybe I thought they were in New York.
No, I think the earlier ones, it's okay. So ANTM there's a lot to unpack. It is an interesting show. And in the beginning, I think they really strive to make it seem more like the fashion world. And so in the beginning, it definitely had, I think, more New York inspired elements to it, or like there was a lot more based in New York.
Okay, that makes sense.
But once it started to be clear that it was a production and they had to really stick to the shock value and the things like that, I think that's when it shifted and more of it started to be in LA.
How old were you when you went on America's Next Top Model?
I think I was 20. I definitely wasn't 21 because when they offered alcohol to the girls in the house, I didn't get to get any.
But so, okay, now I have a question. So people were allowed to drink in the house?
Yes. And I remember Molly going, I'm not going to drink if the other girls can't drink. Like, that's gonna mess me up. Like, that's gonna mess up my game. Like, I'm not gonna do that. It's sabotage from the production.
Fair point. And that's Molly O'Connell?
Yes. It was very clear, like, once we got to LA, like, we were just kind of like rats in a cage. Like, it wasn't what we thought it was. The veil had lifted very quickly. So once we got to Morocco, though, which was like my goal the whole time, like, I really just wanted to travel. Obviously I wanted to win, but I have like this a terrible imposter syndrome kind of mentality about things, or like I compare myself to people a lot. So like on the show, that was like a huge weakness for me. And so I was like, okay, if I get first place, that would be like life changing and crazy, like cool. But if I could just travel and get somewhere else, like I saw that as more of like a realistic
Right,
goal.
like the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you made it to top 3
Right, that's
on your
crazy.
season, which is
Mind-blowing.
amazing.
I
And
still can't believe it.
it's so cool. So you basically got the entire experience
Yeah.
just without the final
Getting my
part.
head, my head shaved or whatever. The top 2 girls, like their last challenge was to rock a new haircut by a lady that like they just met there in Morocco, and so Molly got her hair cut so short she looked like Justin Bieber. She looked pretty hot. I was like, okay, I might be into girls a little bit.
Well, you know what?
She looks really cute.
Okay, so yes, Molly O'Connell was on your season. I'm like a huge Bravo girl,
Yeah.
so she's on Southern Charm right
I
now.
know, and
Do you
it's
watch
so
Southern
cool.
Charm?
Yeah, I think it's so much more her like vibe now. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, she just gets to be way more. She was really painted on the show as like one of the complainers and like just kind of like high maintenance, which she was. She had to have like a butt pillow.
Oh, like when
Complaining
you're
about-
sitting?
We had to sit a lot. Like there was a lot of hurry up and wait. So we'd be sitting on a bus for hours. And that was part of like when you see on camera contestants like having like frustrations or things that sort of seem kind of like unreal or not, just kind of, high maintenance or whatever.
Right.
It was just a lot of times it's because you're so frustrated by that point. You really haven't eaten, whether it's because you're trying to stay a certain weight or like they just haven't fed us. You know what I mean? Like there'd be hours or you're just in the bus. And the bus windows would be closed, so we wouldn't know where we were for that like shock value of like when we open the door. Oh, we're in a landfill, like on a mountain of trash with seagulls overhead pooping.
Right.
everywhere.
So by the time you end up at these challenges, these photo shoots, whatever you want to call them, you guys are already like kind of ornery, I guess you could
Yes.
say. And then
That's a
you
great
have
word for it.
you have the added factor of like, and now what are they going to make us do?
For sure. There was definitely a defeatist kind of feeling in the very beginning, that first challenge where we have to walk on water. I remember we got off the bus and they were already filming Miss J reaction to like, and the audience's reaction to girls falling in the water, and we hadn't even done the challenge yet. So like
Right.
they knew they wanted someone to fall in the water, and so we were just like, are you kidding me? Like I just remember looking over at Monique and we were just like, what? Like they're setting us up for failure. They
Right.
didn't want us to succeed. That it just kind of felt like they were always like either wanting us to fight, wanting us to be like at each other's throats, or like wanting us to, trip and break a leg.
Right. Had you watched, so this was cycle 16 you were on, had you watched the show prior?
Yes, I grew up watching the show. And like, honestly, I was really bad at like, I couldn't watch TV for very long. I couldn't sit still for very
Right.
long. Like I'd go and just like draw or do something else. But Top Model was one of those things that like when I started watching it, I was just enthralled by like the creative process of the show, the photography. I really got into photography because of the show, and that's what I studied in college before I went to an audition for it. So I saw that my life would be going in that direction, like maybe being around a camera, but more so like behind it, or like hoping to audition for more like acting stuff.
Right.
So
This was like a stepping stone
it was,
for you.
I mean, like it's hard to say whether it's like Top Model. I forgot, honestly, it's been so many years. I forgot how impactful that show was. Like that show was huge. When I got back and I was back on campus, anywhere I'd go, people were looking at me, or I'd go into the grocery store and people would stop me. And that like 15 seconds of fame, like it was very humbling, and well, I don't know if humbling's the right word, but it was like it was very like interesting to get a dose of that and go like, is that what I want out of life? Like, is this for me? I think like we were talking like off camera about it takes a certain type of personality to enjoy this stuff. And Tyra Banks is one of those people. She loves being on camera, clearly. And I have to say, like, I've been really torn about like my stance in all of this because I got such a huge opportunity from the show. Yes, it was like a huge launching pad. And what they said on the documentary was like, this was before you had the platforms of social media to make your own success.
Mm-hmm.
And so there really wasn't a lot of opportunity for people to get out of their hometown and just to like make things happen for themselves. So I can't be mad in a certain sense because like I definitely felt like I was signing my soul away for the contract to be on the show. but I also got like such an amazing opportunity from it that did give me a lot of doors open later
Right.
on.
It's like bittersweet. Like there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it. I mean, like in your season, you guys went through a lot of shit, actually. And you know what? I just want to start right with this. So your season started with Tyra Banks pulling a prank on you.
Yeah.
Where she told you guys that you didn't make it. You're going home.
Yeah.
Your suitcases were thrown at the bottom of a staircase, only for her to just. She wanted to get a reaction out of you guys because you guys actually did make it. Like, what was that like?
It was. I mean, have you ever played a game where you thought you lost and then they said, "Just kidding, you won"? Like, it doesn't really happen,
Right?
So they interviewed us, like, what does it feel like to be sent home first by Tyra Banks? And that was really like heartbreaking, you know, because you get your hopes up, you've flown all this way.
Girls were crying in these interviews.
It's super upsetting. I mean, you just like anytime that you think it's over, it's like there goes that chance. It's so fleeting. It's like catching lightning. So to have that be the start of it was just this weird like shake, mental, physical. Like it really physically, I was like we were shaking. Like girls were falling to the floor, like crying, like that kind of experience you don't really see very often, someone having that kind of experience to something,
right?
You know, like falling to the floor crying because they're like, oh my God, wait, what? Like just the shock.
You all seemed pretty confident that you were going to be cast. Is that why it was such a big deal?
Yeah. So like that first week of casting, when we're at the hotels, there was like a lot of isolation. We weren't allowed to talk to each other because the cameras weren't like technically rolling yet. Like we weren't in the house yet. We weren't mic'd 24/7 yet. So like that first week was already really grueling from like getting to LA the first day. They take away our cell phones. They make us wait hours to go through our suitcases to pick out the first like couple of outfits we're going to wear with Tyra Banks. And then we go through a personality test, which was like on Scantron, you know, of like, do you hear voices in your head? When you walk into a room, do you think people are thinking of you? Like it was asking all these really interesting questions. Like I think trying to figure out like, what are the things that make people tick? Like, what are you, like, what is in your head? Like how are we going to be able to manipulate these people? So yeah, by the time Friday rolled around and we're like finally like on camera opening up the envelopes, Mr. J, Mrs. J, they're right there. We just got to start talking to everybody like as a group. And then it was kind of like the rug was like pulled out from underneath us when they told us. But when it goes to like tricking people, what's worse than tricking people and telling them that they lost but that they actually got it is tricking the people that thought they got it and then they didn't.
That's my question. So those were also other women.
Those weren't actors. Those were real girls that had flown from, I was with them when we were in casting in Houston. Like there were a couple there. And like, I would just remember, you know, Lex, Alexandria, she had like one of her friends was with her. And so like, it was really shocking when that happened. And a year later, I ran into a girl in Houston again, like at one of the modeling shows. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? Like, we never saw you guys again. Like, they didn't even air it, like, what their reaction was.
I thought
like,
they were actors.
Why wouldn't they air that? Oh, maybe because it was so, like, mentally messed up for these people. Like, it's so traumatic.
Right.
They put them on a bus. This is what she told me. They put them on a bus, made them wait for hours. Then a, like, producer came on the bus and said, that was all for show. You're going to go home tomorrow. And what's interesting, too, is that a producer comes to us and says, Tyra always feels bad about the girls that are going to get sent home first. So when you get your luggage, she's going to say bye. But that's not true because Tyra doesn't feel bad about the girls that she sends home first because she didn't say anything to the other girls that like were
that actually went home. Yeah. It's even more, it's so funny because I feel like they actually mentioned it in the documentary where how fucked up was it that she lied to you guys and said you didn't get on, but you actually did get on. We are not talking enough about the other girls that opened the envelope, saw their photo, thought they had this chance to be on America's Next Top Model, only to learn that it was all a prank at their expense. And she didn't give a fuck because she didn't say sorry to them.
And then like just imagine like that, like literally like we go to where our luggage is. That's actually where we're going to be sleeping that night, which is in like a couple of hours. because this day is like just gone on. And so now there's pictures of us everywhere, and they're like, okay, you pick out your bed and like get ready for bed. And the bathtub was in the community like bathroom. So the rules were like, if you're alone in the bathroom, we can't film you, but if you're in there with somebody else, we can. And so if you're taking a bath, they can basically film you because you're like not like somebody else is brushing their teeth at the same time. But going back to like that night, there weren't enough beds for the girls, so some of them had to sleep on the couch or share a bed because they're already like, oh, well, someone's going to go home in like 2 days. And then...
Right, like they don't care about the first people that are going to go home enough to even give them a bed for the 2 days they're there.
We had an elliptical. I was like, thanks.
Bed, elliptical.
Yeah. I was like, at least like while we're like waiting hours in here, sometimes we can like have a little bit of movement. But I couldn't sleep that night because I just felt like around any corner at any point there would be like another sort of trick to just get us to be shocked on camera. Right.
Getting the rug pulled out from under you, like you said, like right when you get there. I mean, that is setting the tone for your whole
Nobody's
time
safe.
There. Nobody.
Like Tyra said, what was it? Like no sacred cows? Like what was that? Like what was she saying on the show?
That's exactly what she said, yeah.
Such a weird like word to use for like humans, It's just I've like really like I was telling you, I've really struggled. Like, is Tyra a good person or is she not? Like I just feel like maybe I don't know, there's a part of me that wants to believe that she's still a good person. That's what makes me a little emotional because growing up when we were watching the show, I idolized Tyra Banks and Mr. J and Mrs. J. And when I got on the show, like not only was I like kind of surprised by how Tyra like would handle herself, like she was just kind of like she'd come in and then she'd do her thing and she'd leave. But I was also really disappointed with Mr. J. I felt like he was inauthentic or just like this like talking head. Like he didn't seem like he really cared much about the girls. Like he was kind of mean or just cold, I should say. And I just always I've always thought that he was a bad person. But like watching this documentary and realizing he wanted to quit seasons ago, like he was just there, like, pretty much like with his hands tied because he would be blacklisted otherwise. Like that's at least what he said in the documentary, So it's giving me like a whole new perspective on something that I thought I understood,
Wow. And that must be hard all these years later to rethink. You had this one perspective for the last 10 years, right?
Right.
And now everything's changing. So you guys didn't have much of a personal relationship with Tyra or the Jays or Nigel, really? You just were herded in, did your photo shoots and left.
Yeah, we were literally like the person that would take us places was like the crew wrangler. They would basically like we were basically treated like animals, like herded in, and then it didn't feel like we were talent. And I think that's something that can go across like the reality TV, just in general, like the production for reality TV. They think that they're giving people an opportunity, so they don't really treat you like you're working on the show the way that they treat other people who are like the talent on the show. I'm not expecting to get like star treatment, but at least like the respect of like a human being would be nice. Mrs. J was somebody like that season who really did come with authenticity. Like she was in the bus with us when the cameras were off, like showing us pictures on her digital camera, like telling us stories, giving us her time. And like that one day was like the highlight for me because it felt like I was getting that kind of like inside moment and like getting to bond with someone that like we'd like just admired for so long.
Yeah. I thank you for opening up too and like being vulnerable about this because I'm sure I don't know, if I were in your shoes, I would probably struggle with, and you had said this in the beginning of like, there's a lot of pros and cons. I'm glad I got the opportunity. I wanted it so bad, but it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So since you had mentioned the documentary and you obviously watched it.
Had to.
Do you agree with the sentiment that the show is problematic?
Can I just get like a clearer, for you to say like the show is problematic? Like what is like, is it that the show is problematic or how they handle things? Like,
good question. Let's say like how they handled things, how the models were treated. Like not only from your experience, right? You can't speak to production and decisions that they made behind the
nobody
scenes.
really had the idea of what like Shandy went through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, what's really weird is like I was so young that I didn't understand
Of course
that
not.
like when that happened, like what was actually happening.
Yeah, nobody did.
I think we should all give ourselves a pat on the back because we've come a long way, because we're looking at some of that stuff and we're like, wow, that's really messed up. At least we're not like looking back and being like, oh, that's normal, you know? I think that there's kind of like something to be said about that. Like, it's important to document things the way that they are at the time so that we can learn and grow from it and say, okay, we're not those people anymore. We're not that way anymore, for the better.
Right, like it's almost like you feel relieved that people are seeing the show how you see it as well. And like people are agreeing with you. And not, because I'm sure when you were on it, you probably felt
I couldn't ever watch it again. I could never watch America's Next Top Model again. And unfortunately, like, Cycle 16 was like maybe even before Cycle 16, there was like a turning point with the show where it was very clear that it wasn't about the modeling world anymore, the fashion industry anymore. It was about the shock value and the numbers of the show, how many views they could get and how high she could go.
It wasn't about the models. It was about the show.
Yeah.
It was the success of the show became more important than the success of the models.
I don't know if the success of the models was ever that important. I don't know. To me, that's so surprising because, like, when we look at the documentary and we hear about Danny's story, which, by the way, like, Danny did not want to close the gap in her tooth. That was really messed up. Like, the fact that they were going against her wishes about her body. Mm-hmm. Like, that's, in the fashion world, you get to walk away. You know what I mean? Like, if an agent, you know, or somebody in the fashion world says you need to lose inches from your hips, you need to get a boob job or a nose job or like whatever, which it does happen, like, you aren't kind of like held there to say like you're gonna do this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they like physically held her down and forced her to do it, but they were like, you're gonna go home.
It's an ultimatum, right? And it's like they do look, there was a certain way they went about casting where they obviously cast people that needed this. Right. This was their ticket out. This was their way out.
True.
So they can tell them to do whatever they want. I'm sure Danny or you or anybody, you guys could have the decision. If you don't want to do something, you can say no. But you know that means you'll be off the show. Right. If you don't like appease what Tyra wants and what the Jays want, there goes your opportunity.
Yeah. And so what's weird also about Danny's story is how she shared that years later, Tyra admitted to her that she knew doors would be closed for her. And this is where it gets like really dark, because if Tyra like genuinely wanted the show to be about a model's success afterwards, like, wouldn't she do everything she could after the show to like be, you know, continuing to guide the contestants that at least got really far and like prove themselves to her worthy of her? Like, it's just, I don't know. It just seems like it's a missing part of her formula. Like, if she was like this evil master manipulator, like, wouldn't it make sense that she would just keep these people close and like then give them? But I don't know. I think she just wants to be like, there was something that she said on the show, which was like, I guess only other people should say about you. It shouldn't be something you say about yourself. But she was like, there probably won't be another Tyra Banks again. Like, she was, you know, and that's like, it's very clear she wants to be that person. And like everybody else can like get success, but not as much success as her.
Right. There is something about, look, I don't agree. After that doc, I like don't agree with anything that they did. Her production, this Ken guy. Did you ever meet Ken?
Yeah, I met his children. Like, they were on set, you know?
Wow.
And I remember when Molly and Brittany, we got back on the plane in Morocco. Kasha was with us, Alexandria was with us, but Molly and Brittany had just gotten all their hair chopped off. Molly looked very masculine and beautiful in that way. She's like walking past Ken on the plane in first class, and she's like, "Ken Mock, you're dead to me."
Now knowing Molly on Southern Charm, I can see her saying that.
She's amazing. And I think like a lot of times they can take what a person says, you know, and they can change like the humor behind it into something else.
Right.
Which is what they did a lot with Alexandria. Like, Alexandria was like tough as nails. But she also grew up in LA. Like, that's a different type of person than like Jacqueline from Texas.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why they cast these types of people. I was going to say, it's like, what was interesting to me about Tyra specifically in the documentary is like, she did kind of stand 10 toes down in every decision she made. Like, she wasn't really like, she was like taking accountability, but not taking accountability. And like, I don't agree with anything they did on the show, but there was a certain level of like, damn, she really doesn't give a fuck. She's just like, yeah, I did this. I made this great show. It'll never happen again. I'm the best. And I'm sure that's probably hard to see. It's like, to me, it almost felt like she still doesn't care, right?
She seems like untouchable, but it's funny because then she's like, no sacred cows. And then she even got fired. But it's like, did she get fired if she's the one owning like rights to the show, even if she's like not on camera? She's still like making money from the show.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know. They'll probably always make money from this show. I want to talk a little bit more about your season specifically.
Sure.
You guys had to do a lot of crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
You had bees on your head. They set you on fire. Like, what was the craziest photo shoot challenge for you?
I mean, I really like enjoyed and also loathed being in a landfill or on a landfill. I don't know really what to say because you're in it, like you're in trash. And that one was really messed up because everybody who was on camera wasn't wearing masks, but all the people behind the camera were. So we were like inhaling all of this debris. And I swear, like the air was thicker. Like I got home that night and my pores just seemed like filled with gunk. And so then on top of that, they're expecting us to like deliver these amazing shots. And, you know, Brittany's like down in the gunk because she's like kind of feels like she's got to prove herself because she just like snapped or whatever. And then I remember being on this platform and like having this epic outfit on, and I'm like, I've learned some new tricks modeling lately, so I'm doing like the broken back pose and all these things and like trying to lift my neck up high, and you can't hear Nigel clicking, which is like a model's signal to move. You know what I mean? So like I'm just kind of like trying to do my thing and get something caught on camera. And Mr. J runs up to me and he's like, Hannah, stop second guessing yourself. And I'm like, I'm feeling really good right now. Like I was just really confused why he's giving me this information like that it's like not going well. And then when I get off when I get off of the platform and I go to get interviewed by the producers, like while we're still on set, they were like, so why do you think it didn't go well? And I was like, I think it went really great.
Right.
I was like, that was awesome.
Do you think they're trying to play like head games with you to like make you second guess yourself?
They were trying to steer the story in a certain direction. That's at least what I think. Because like in the documentary, they admit that we always like had this idea that like somebody took a really good picture, but then they'd show like a terrible picture in the judging panel. We're like, how did that happen? There would be times where Mr. J would be like, you're rocking it. And then we'd go to the judging panel and they'd be like, this is your best shot, and it would be like terrible. So there was definitely something like contrived and like manipulated about that. And so when we were all getting really aware of that on the show, like when, you know, so by the time that came around, like when producers are trying to steer me to like think that, yeah, I was just kind of like, no, that was awesome. And I remember seeing the face of the producer being like,
and that's so crazy to hear that everyone else had masks on and you guys didn't, which proves like there was a safety level.
For sure.
But that didn't apply to you. Like, when you were on the show, did you feel safe?
Can I tell you a story that I've told many times before?
Please.
And the thing is like this part of the story is not wasn't televised. And in our contract, we, for a certain number of years, couldn't talk about the things that weren't televised.
Okay.
They didn't exist. But, you know, that contract doesn't exist anymore either. So one of the things that I've told people that you might find if like you're someone who follows me and you might have listened to like a podcast before, you might have heard this story, but I want to continue telling the story because I think it's really strange what they had us do, and it wasn't anything to do with modeling at all. So we're in Morocco. It's me, Brittany, and Molly, top 3. We had this challenge of interviews, and Brittany's like chasing the guy down the hallway. Like her interview like went really bad. Then Molly's like in her interview is like pissed off. She's over it. She's cursing. In my interview, my lady can't speak English, so I'm talking the whole time. and asking her questions. And then I'd say something, she'd be like, yes. And, you know, in her language, she'd be like, mm-hmm. And so Mr. J said that I talked too much in my interview, so I lost that challenge. And then he said Brittany lost that challenge, which was so strange because Molly is literally cursing in her interview.
Right.
I think I should have won that challenge, in my opinion. But at this point, like, it was very clear Molly and Brittany were going to be top 2. I was 3rd place. But, you know, it hadn't happened yet. I hadn't been, like, cut yet. So when Mr. J came in and asked us how the challenge went, I was like, oh, it's been, or he asked us like, how is Morocco? I was like, it's been so amazing. We've been like, I love being immersed in this culture, like seeing this, like Morocco is like a whole nother world. Like it is so different. So when Mr. J told us who won and who lost, he goes, Brittany, Hannah, you guys are going to get immersed in the culture even more. And he took us out to the Moroccan street, and there was a table like with a tarp on it and like a butcher, and like a bunch of men like circled around the table, and they're all laughing, and there's cameras, so we know this is rolling, and they pull off the tarp and there's animal carcass on the table, like severed cow's head with its tongue hanging out, and like cow's head, like it was a big cow, and like goat intestines and legs and like just different pieces of organs and like fur and weird animal parts on the table. And our job is to pick them up and put them in a cart that's attached to a donkey, and then guide the donkey down the alley into the butcher shop while these men are like laughing at us. It's like the sun is setting, and then we have to pick up the animal parts and put them, crawl into a meat locker. The butcher's like sharpening his knives.
Oh my
Like,
God.
It's so gross.
Was this
and
meant to be like
weird.
a challenge? Like, is this what you guys thought it
No,
was?
this wasn't a challenge. This was because we lost a challenge.
It was like a punishment?
Yeah.
And they never aired it.
No, and you know, when it was happening, I really wanted to be like, you know, flicking people off, like, F you, but that's not who I am. Like, at least not at the time, you know, this experience really changed me as a person, because I feel like now I know, like, to speak up for myself a little bit more and just be like, you know, if they call you, you know, bad words, then like, that's on them. Like,
Right.
you can't. Nigel Barker told me this at one point on the show. I really appreciate what he said. You can't please everyone. But what's ironic about that is that Nigel Barker and Mrs. J and Mr. J were trying so hard to please Tyra for years when they were like, you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Like they couldn't take their own advice.
Yeah.
And hearing that story makes me wonder how many other things, like that's fucked
We
up.
were like gagging. We were like,
No, that's like really fucked up. And it
Yeah.
makes me wonder like how many other things, how many other girls in
Right.
other seasons had to do
Yeah.
that we don't even know about that
Yeah.
isn't on camera. I mean, all the shit that made it to camera,
Right.
I couldn't even imagine the things that didn't.
the thought in my head was, when this airs, America's going to change their opinion of the show. And I was like, well, this will be like history making. Like, I
Right.
got to keep doing it. And that's like what's so crazy about the mental aspect of it too. Like, from a contestant's perspective, is like, you know, you're doing something messed up, but like America will see it and be on your side. That's
Right.
what you're hoping for, is like this is like not right, but at least like America will like see that too.
And then it never aired.
And then it doesn't air, and you're just like traumatized.
Yeah.
Like
and
vegan.
even if it did air, you never know what the edit's gonna look
Right.
like. I want to talk about the infamous America's Next Top Model makeovers.
Oh, yeah.
So you had a makeover in your season. Was there an option to say no?
I don't think there was an option to say no, especially to that. That's like another one of those like ultimatum places where like if you say no to your makeover, then you're just not participating. You're not a team player. So
Right.
you got to go. There was actually a girl on our show that quit, and I can't remember if she even made it to the makeovers, and honestly, I thought she was the one who was going to win. Like, she was
Really?
just stunning.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of trauma, like prior to the show, like family trauma, that I think she realized she just didn't want them to use that. Yeah.
I see. I see.
So, and then I was so scared that day when they were doing makeovers, because my dad is a hairdresser, and I was just certain that I would get on the show and they would shave my head or do something that would like ruin my father's work. I haven't seen him lately, as you can tell. My roots are grown out, but
This is not a reflection of her father.
yeah, please don't, you know, like that's why my hair
I think
is so
your hair
long.
looks great though.
It's
By the
because
way,
I don't see my dad very often. Like, when I see my dad, I get my hair cut.
You're
you
a
know?
loyal customer though.
Well, I mean, I can't trust people with my hair anymore.
Fair.
But, especially when in the modeling industry where they're like teasing it, and on the show, like I remember they did this thing where they would take hair clips and they would, I think it's called like wire racking. They would basically do each hair in a hair in those bobby pins, and they would do like go through. So you have like all these little like hairpins, and then they'd go and they'd flat iron it, and then when they'd pull it out, you had like cotton candy hair. But do you know how bad that is for your hair?
Yeah,
It's so bad.
totally.
And they did that all throughout the season. That's like why you see those big hair moments.
God, how long did that take?
We were there for like all day, and then they would want us to do interviews after that where we'd have to be like back in our normal hair.
That is not good.
I know,
That is not good. And I'm sure they weren't using heat protectant.
No.
But then when you did your makeover, they just gave you highlights and a little bit, some extensions maybe, highlights.
No, yeah, exactly. And they were only doing the roots. So I was like, are you guys going to cut my hair really short or something? And the person doing my highlights was like, why do you say that? And I was like, because you're not like touching the ends or anything. And then she like went and did some like at the ends, which you really don't want to do because it overlaps and then it melts off. But I think she was just like trying to prove that like it wasn't gonna happen.
Right.
And then I just got to keep my long hair.
What did you think about Molly O'Connell's makeover?
Hilarious.
Did everyone in the house, like everyone agreed it was bad?
It was bad. I felt really bad for her and Michaela. They both, and what's funny is Kasha got like proper extensions for, like they did her extensions in the way that you would do for her type of hair, but for Molly and Michaela, for some reason they did a different, like they just sewed in a weave.
Right.
Like they basically hid their hair.
Was Michaela the one that had she got the red hair?
She was dark hair. And I think they added more. I don't know if they did extensions or if they did the same thing they did to Molly, but I remember only Molly being the one where they just braided all of her hair and then they sewed a weave on.
It looked fake. Like it looked like a wig. Yeah.
They sewed a wig on.
Yeah.
And like this person that did the wig wasn't anybody from the salon of this like guy that's revered in Beverly Hills for his salon. Like I would be mad if I was that guy. Like nobody's gonna want to go to his salon
right anymore. It's like a reflection of his salon. Yeah. And they that was a huge part of your season, and I'm sure it really affected you guys in the house of Molly just being pissed off because it wasn't just a bad hairstyle, it like hurt her.
Yeah, I'm really sorry that it hurt her. But like when we were on the show, we got back on the bus and it was like around Halloween, and then she was like, "Happy Halloween, motherfuckers." And I was just like, I just loved her like perspective or her like sense of humor around it. Like even though she was in a lot of pain, Michaela did go to the hospital for it.
Wow.
I don't remember
why
whether
don't they
or not
like
Molly did.
they really focused on Molly then and not Michaela, which is maybe Molly just complained a little bit more.
She was funny about how she complained.
Yeah.
And it was funny to like mess with her about it. Like I was kind of like one of the instigators on the show too, because it was just so funny when people lost their cool.
Right.
But we all wanted to like support each other. It felt like we were kind of like, there's this book, Island of Flies or Lord of Flies.
Oh yeah. I think the Lord of the Flies. Yeah.
It's so weird. I packed that book when we were on the show. Like that was the book I had when I was in the house reading this book. And it's literally like what we were going through. Like it felt like we were on this island and we had to either band together or we would be like against each other. Like, yeah, it was weird.
So when you guys were living together in the house, it did feel more like the way the show's edited is that you're all always pissed off and bitching about Alexandria and this person's annoyed and that person's annoyed. But the way you're talking to me, it does seem like mostly you guys were more supportive of each other than competitive.
Yeah, for sure. So in our interviews, when there's one where you're just like in a telephone booth and that's every day you have to give that interview. And then there's another one where you go into like a studio space and they're asking you questions. They're basically feeding you sentences. So they would ask a question like, why do you think Alexandria is a bitch? And you would have to say, I think Alexandria is a bitch because like you have to put the question in the answer. That's what they told us. Like you have to say the question as
right.
your, like with
that's
your
common.
answer. Yeah, because then you don't have to have the producers asking. That's like where a lot of times you'll see like a producer off camera asking a question because the person doesn't even go
and like restate the question.
Yeah, exactly. So I just feel like they would really like try to like navigate, like kind of guide people with those answers.
Right.
You know?
Well, because they're asking you these questions, but because you have to restate them,
Yeah.
it seems like it's your own thought.
Right.
And it's like, I'm the one that's talking
Yeah.
about this when really I was just asked about
Yeah.
it. So, well, I'm glad to hear that you guys were all friendly with each other and like,
Yeah, there was never really, I mean, like, there would be Alexandria knowing better than everybody else that she could runway walk.
Right.
You know, there was like that sense of confidence that I think other girls would be like, damn, I wish I had that confidence. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that wasn't like anything.
Normal jealousy
Yeah.
that like people would have and like a
Yeah.
little bit of cockiness.
Right.
But when you have a bunch of beautiful women in a house, somebody's gonna be cocky. So you gotta be real. So what would you guys do when you were not in a competition or an elimination? Like what were you doing with your downtime?
There wasn't really a lot of downtime. When it was downtime, I think we were, like I said, there was like a workout machine. So we'd do that. I look at seasons after ours that like had social media involved. I'm like, that's not fair.
Right.
Like those kids got so many followers from the show, like
Right.
because they were interacting on the show. Like we didn't really get that like kind of social media like perk. We didn't have phones. We didn't have contact to the outside world
At all?
So we would be given like a certain number of minutes, and like every once in a while, if you won a challenge, then you'd get to call home.
That's an extra like layer of incentive
Right.
to win. Wow.
Yeah, if we talked, if we were to talk to each other when the cameras weren't rolling, then our punishment would be like taking our hours away to call home. So I only got to talk to my family for like 10 or 15 minutes during the show.
The whole time you were there, you made it to top 3.
Yeah.
You got to call home for 15
Yeah.
minutes. What?
And then like we would write letters, which is kind of funny. Like mail was a thing when we were on the show, and they would black out our letters. So my mom like wrote me a letter being like, I couldn't understand half of your letter because it was blacked out. Because it was like information, or I guess they just didn't want them to know like anything.
How long were you there for?
I remember like getting the call in August, or like I kind of only went to like one day of my first semester of my second year of college, and then I was like on my way.
Right.
So I feel like it started in August, and then I got home and it was like right around Thanksgiving, or maybe it was after. No, because it was like after Thanksgiving.
It's a long time.
Well, what's beautiful about the show too is like my parents have been divorced since I was 7, and they really didn't they weren't in the same room when I was growing up, like without like kind of having like animosity towards each other. So when I was on the show, it was they missed me so much that they would talk to each other, and so they actually spent like that Thanksgiving together.
Wow.
And then when I got back, we had dinner, all 3 of us, which was like the first time in years.
That's really special.
Yeah, it is really special. Yeah.
Before you went on America's Next Top Model, like what were you expecting to get out of the show? Were you expecting to move to LA or New York and become a model?
Yeah.
Like, was that the goal?
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to do New York or LA when I got off the show. I just knew I wanted to be in the industry. Like ultimately, I really wanted to do acting. But I remember doing interviews in Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas for the show afterwards, which really made me feel like a star.
Right.
You know, that was pretty cool to do like the press tour for ANTM.
Especially where you're from. Like that is pretty cool. Yeah.
I'd be like on the news channel at 6 a.m. Like this is so
That's
cool.
very cool.
And I'd get to see Jackie, or oh gosh, I'm forgetting one of the girls that was like one of the first contestants at home. I got to see her a couple times after. It's Dominique. So that part was really fun. And like one of the things a news anchor asked me is like, what do you want to do now? And I was like, I want to be a Victoria's Secret model. You know, like that was my goal as a model, which is like really aiming high. But I realized like I didn't want to. We talked about this too, like sacrifice, like what you have to sacrifice to do certain things. It's a lot. And that's, again, it takes like a certain personality. If that's your MO, then do it, you know? But for me, I was like, if I'm going to sacrifice anything, it's going to be like doing things to get to be an actor. And my goal was to do Disney. So when that happened, it was kind of like, it happened really fast. I moved to LA. Within a year, I had a manager, and she, like, my third audition was for that show, Austin and Ally, and I booked it.
Which Austin Alley was a huge show,
Yeah,
and
it was
and you were on it for a while. Do you feel that you got that opportunity because of America's Next Top Model, or even if you never did Top Model, you probably still would have been on that show?
I don't think I could have been on that show without Top Model, because like I had so much more support from my family, like emotional support, moral support after the show. They were like, you did it. Like they thought I had already made it because of Top Model. And
So-
it kind of feels like you did, but you still have so much to do.
Did you get any opportunities directly from Top Model? Like, did you get any modeling opportunities from that?
I feel like when I was modeling in Texas for the year after the show, just to like earn money to move out and to like make sure this was like real, like, did they just hire me because I had pigtails?
Right.
I almost wore my pigtails today.
Signature look. Not many people have a signature look, and that was yours.
Yeah, but okay, so going back to like after the show, like in Texas, I was a big fish in a small pond. America's Next Top Model was a big deal. So I was like at the front of the show or like closing the show, which felt really nice. When I moved to LA, it was a totally different story. And like a lot of people have this experience when you're like the, prettiest kid in school, and then you come to LA and you're like, you're an 8. You're a 6.
Right. I'm like a
the best.
Pennsylvania 9, but an LA 5. I get it.
Honestly, like I think it's cool to come from another place and to like, just represent like where you're coming from, and like just, don't come with that attitude of like, well, like there were people in LA who thought I had like this what's the word? Entitlement.
Okay.
Because I would like, it's a part of my resume. So, you have your elevator pitch with people or you meet people. It's like, this is a part of like, what I've done.
You're not going to not say you were on America's Next Top Model.
Honey, I've started to learn not. I started to keep my mouth shut about it sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Because especially in the modeling industry, and this is like something that like I agreed with girls on the documentary, saying like I went into a new agency at one point, and this was after I'd been working in LA for years. So like modeling, Top Model was like a little bit behind me. I think I might have done like a season of Austin and Ally at that point. So like I had some other cred, and like this agency, like the assistant was like, I loved you on America's Next Top Model. Like it was so cool to watch that season, which is like such a good feeling. Thank you very much. And then the agent was like, ew, you were on that show. I hated America's Next Top Model. It made girls think they could actually model that definitely shouldn't. And like closed my portfolio and like said, thank you very much. It's like definitely you get, branded, like you have Tyra Banks like on your forehead,
It's so crazy to think a show called America's Next Top Model would deter people from hiring models as models, but that's what they've been saying.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know now, would you still go on America's Next Top Model?
Yeah, but I would definitely be like flicking the cameras off more and like
Right.
being like, I would be also with Molly being like, you're dead to me, Ken Mock. I feel like I would be a little bit more like outspoken
Right.
about like
you wouldn't be
my
so
frustrations.
accommodating.
Yeah.
Because it's like now I don't want to put words in your mouth, so like correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like now you know how they felt and how they treated you, so why should you treat them like with the same respect?
Yeah. Because this is funny. If you're going to go send like a text to someone and you look up the gifts for stuff and you see, like you can look up Tyra Banks,
right,
and there's like endless videos or clips for her. It's like the faces that she makes and that sort of thing. It's like, is that a model? Is that a model? Like just like search and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like I don't want to recreate the faces, but if I was on Top Model again, I probably would, because like when they're telling me to like lift a dead animal off a table, I think I would be making that face. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's certain moments where you want to make that face, but it's not a pretty face.
Right. Are you saying like why not just like be yourself and make good TV?
Yeah, be yourself and like break the glass. You know what I mean? Like I just can't. I grew up like in theater, so I always wanted to embody the character that was wearing the clothes. So like we'd be in these photo shoots, and I'd want to be the jaguar's mother,
right?
The bee queen, and these sorts of things. But instead, they wanted to see people who were like really just like unhinged. But I don't know if America wants. I don't know. Is it America that wants to see people unhinged? Because to me, it seems like the show did really well in the beginning because it was like rough around the edges. But it wasn't because the production was forcing that so much. It was just that they were bringing people from all walks of life who were stunning in their own right and had like these really unique qualities, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That's what's cool about the show, is like opening up the beauty standard. But then it started to close it down again when they started focusing on things that weren't really like important in that way anymore, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely spot on, and I think that's something the documentary did a great job at showing. Apparently, there's going to be another documentary on E where they interview a different batch of models. I think that will be interesting. Is it hard for you to talk about this? Like,
Which part?
Just your experience on.
No, I feel like, I mean, like, there's something another one of the girls said on the documentary is like, life happens, move on. What's like weird for me is the you know, this being the only, like, I didn't want to be like a one trick pony, and that's like the biggest fear I feel for any artist is like you hit like a lick of success and then it's like an addiction. You just want to just get another, you're only as good as your next job.
Yeah.
So like what's really trippy for me is that I'm still living in ANTM world when that was literally 2011.
Right.
You know, but that's just like shows how impactful that was for our culture, because it was like a sign of the shift that we were experiencing as far as like social media was becoming like this part of our life that like really like we want. Like humans are like herd creatures, you know? And so like this kind of has that feeling of connection. But then at the same time, like, where is the line crossed between like this being like a documentary about like lions out in the wild eating antelope? You know what I mean? Like, when can we step in and say like maybe that person shouldn't be taken advantage of?
I really appreciate you talking to me about this, opening up about it, sharing your experience. You have such an interesting experience with the show. I would say quite a realistic and still positive outlook of your time on the show, which is great. So what's next for you?
Oh, God, that's such a weird question.
I know. I kind of hate when people ask that, but I have to ask you.
Well, because it's like I'm still around. Like I'm not, like I haven't like, you know, fallen off the face of the earth. But like I'm not like, you know, when it comes to auditions, it's really weird because it's like I see some great projects and I have like a manager who's just so lovely who wants me to work, but I'm like in this place right now where I'm kind of morphing my my creative like palette a little bit, like just the paintbrush is changing and what I'm using. I don't know.
Ooh, I've never heard that. I like that.
I don't even know what I just said.
You just said, I like that. I thought you like stole that from someone. That's good. The paintbrush is changing.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, so look, I wanted to be on America's Next Top Model. I did it. I wanted to be on Disney Channel. I did it. Do I want to be a Victoria's Secret angel still? Girl, I wish I could.
I mean,
like,
yeah, I'm open.
Yeah. But like, just, you know, that takes, you know, that's not the direction my life is going in. Do I want to be like a Marvel character or like do like a really fun, creative A24, you know, something? Hell yeah. But like right now, I'm not like running full speed ahead in those directions. Like my life is like focused on my life, my family. It's beautiful. Who knows? Maybe I'll like pop back into like acting and modeling, but I really want to do like other musical kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I want to hit like a new goal and a different like field.
It's never too late to set a new goal, and you've accomplished all these other goals you've gone out after. So let's do some music.
Yeah, we don't need to play the same song over and over again, but I have been playing the same song over and over again, trying to get like really good at guitar. So we'll just see. Like,
what song are you learning?
Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, wow. That's that's what you're like learning. That's like your first big song.
Well, I mean, hopefully one day, like I'll be out there with some of my own music, but Stairway to Heaven's a really good song to learn to understand music and like just this is terrible. My goal for music is so much lower. My first goal is to like sit somewhere like on the Santa Monica Promenade and just like play with my guitar and like have a bucket for tips.
No, that's sick. That's a fun goal. If as long as you're happy, it doesn't matter how big or small the goal is. Like that's literally all that matters is that you feel fulfilled and happy.
Thank you for saying that. And it's like totally true. I feel like people like, you know, we've been craving, I don't know, you like social media has like put this in our minds that we have to have like a huge number of eyes on us at all times. And then the other thing that I used to love Instagram because it was like a way to meet artists and to have like my own magazine, like just create every week and like photo shoots on photo shoots. And then I was booking work from my own shit. And like, it was so cool. But then it was like, you want to sell toothpaste? Do you want to sell this? Do you want to sell that? You know? And then all of a sudden, like, people now are like, can I buy your followers? Or like, do you know you could sell this? And it's like, ugh, like, I'm not here to like take your money.
Instagram has changed.
I'll put like a tip box out, but like, I want to be like entertaining people.
Right. I know that you are like kind of anti-social media right now, but would you like to share your handle with everyone so they can know where to find you?
Of course. I love keeping in touch with people and talking to people until they start to like creep me out. So like, as long as like we can keep it like, you know,
keep it classy.
Yeah,
in the DMs,
send me any
please.
pics of like weird body parts.
Yeah. You know what she means.
Yeah, exactly. But my Instagram and I think my TikTok too is Hannah Cat Jones. And yeah, I love making new friends and seeing people who like have been inspired by the show in general. There's so many cool artists like in the Philippines and people who have come here. I've like been on people's journeys. Like when I moved here in 2012. Like I met people who were like, oh my gosh, I grew up watching the show. This is a reason I'm a photographer. And now they're like taking pictures of celebrities, you know, they've made it. In my eyes, they've made it. And I think that's like, I really hope people can take that away from anything else is it's like making it isn't like what the world sees. That doesn't mean that you made it. Like what means you made it is like what you said earlier is like doing something like on a daily basis that can keep you fulfilled without having to take money from other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I know like you gotta make money, but like try to do it with like happiness, like joy, instead of like desperation or like anger.
Let's leave it with that piece of advice.
Drop.
Make money without desperation or anger. If we can tell you one thing in this podcast. Hannah, thank you so much.
No,
Seriously,
thank
it
you.
was so nice to meet you.
Likewise.